You took my folder!
Sit down! She hit him! What just happened? Please step back. You don't command me. Fictional. I asked you to check the seat. I gave you an order.
He wasn't threatening you. My pass says 2A. Just remove him already. Check the document. Move your foot, please. What? The photograph.
Stand up now. He's reaching for a picture. I said stand up.
I heard you.
Then let him pick it up. Phone's down.
What happened?
He came at me!
That is false.
Stop interfering. Sir, leave the aircraft.
Check the video first. You are delaying everyone. Then verify the facts quickly.
I saw everything. Turn that off. Why?
Why isn't he shouting back?
Because he knows he's wrong.
Ask the gate agent.
Decision made. You never checked.
We're already late. The truth takes less. Nobody moves!
He refused orders. Preserve the recordings.
Chief, we can explain. Did you verify his seat?
Yes, sir.
That's not true! Phones stay on. Check beneath 2A.
Mr. Mayor?
Mayor? You know him?
Who struck him?
She did. I didn't know who he was.
That is not the question. Lock every report and...
The flight attendant's palm cracked across the black passenger's face before anyone in first class could stand. His silver watch struck the armrest, his boarding pass slid beneath a seat, and the cabin went silent. "You don't get to question me," she snapped. But why did the quiet man refuse to raise his voice? Why did he keep touching the worn photograph inside his jacket instead of defending himself? And why, minutes later, did the airport police chief stop in the aisle, stare at him, and whisper, "Mr. Mayor?" The answer would expose more than one cruel mistake, so stay until the final door closes. "Don't touch the report," Thomas Hale said. The police chief stood halfway down the aisle as ventilation hissed overhead. The plastic cup on tray 3C trembled in a passenger's fingers, rings across the water. No one drank. Sergeant Donna Wells lowered her tablet. "Chief, we were told he refused instructions." Hale kept his eyes on Elias. "Were you told, or did you verify it?" Elias bent slowly. A corner of the photograph showed beneath Wyatt Crane's polished shoe. "Sir, move your foot." Wyatt stepped back so fast his heel struck the seat rail. Elias lifted the picture by its bent edge. Naomi stood between him and Renee, both women laughing at something outside the frame. A gray streak crossed Renee's face where the shoe had pressed. Claire whispered, "I didn't know who he was." Elias slipped the photograph into his jacket. "That isn't the question." Martin Voss moved toward the galley. "Passengers are filming." "Good," Hale said. "Nobody deletes anything." Elias retrieved his leather folio beside seat 2A. Its brass clasp had snapped. "Mr. Mayor," Hale said, "I can take you to my office." "No special route." "Elias, correct the report first. Preserve the gate scan, cabin audio, jet bridge video, and every version of the crew statement. Then ask these passengers what they saw before anyone tells them what they were supposed to see." Dana turned to Officer Calvin Ross. "Call evidence control." Calvin's radio crackled. "Do we detain the crew?" "You follow procedure," Elias said. "The right one." Claire gripped her own wrist. "I thought he was reaching for me." Noah Price rose from 3A, phone in his palm. He was reaching for this. The recording showed the folio sliding, the photograph falling, Claire's hand moving before Elias had stood. A murmur crossed the cabin. Lena Ortiz covered her mouth. "I stopped recording when they threatened to remove me," she said. "You started again," Noah replied. Lena looked at the red timer glowing on her screen. "Yes." Hale faced Martin. "Who confirmed the seat assignment?" "The system showed a conflict." "Who checked with the gate?" Martin glanced at the overhead clock. "We were 11 minutes late." The answer hung there, smaller than the silence around it. Elias's phone buzzed inside his jacket. 1% battery. 3 missed calls from Naomi. Beneath them waited a message sent 7 minutes earlier. "They're lining us up now. I saved you a seat." His thumb hovered over the call icon. The screen dimmed before he could press it. Hale saw the name. "Your daughter's ceremony." Elias put the dead phone away. Was. For the first time, his shoulders lowered. Only an inch. It was enough. Outside, ground lights streaked across rain-dark pavement. Inside, Dana began correcting the removal time. Calvin secured Noah's video. Lena asked for paper so she could write her statement before fear changed her wording. Claire sank onto the jump seat. What happens now? Elias closed the broken folio with both hands. Now we find out whether this only mattered because he recognized me. Across the aisle, the cup in 3C finally stopped shaking. 6 hours earlier, Elias Grant had still believed he would be sitting in the first row when his daughter's name was called. At 8:12 a.m., Elias turned his phone face down beside the council microphone. "We can postpone the vote," Lauren Bishop said. She had closed 3 folders and left the 4th open before him. "The water main failure isn't going anywhere." "It will if we sign the emergency release." "It will also wait 10 minutes." Elias capped his pen, slid the authorization toward the clerk, and listened to the radiator knock behind the paneling. Rain streaked the windows, turning the morning light gray. Lauren folded her arms. "Your flight board's at 1. "I know. You said that before Naomi's college graduation." The clerk stopped gathering papers. Elias straightened the coffee cup so its handle pointed toward Lauren, then lifted the next document. That day, the shelter roof collapsed. And today, a pipe burst. Under a hospital district. Lauren lowered her voice. "Your daughter won't remember the cause. She'll remember the chair." He opened the worn brown folio and removed a photograph in a cloudy sleeve. Naomi, 18 then, stood in a white gown between Elias and Renee. One seat beside the stage had remained empty while Elias worked across town. Naomi was smiling. Renee was not. "I told her first row," Elias said. "Then leave." At 8:26, the council doors opened. Reporters raised phones, but Elias gave one sentence about the repair order. Lauren followed him to the elevator with his overnight bag. "Security car is downstairs." "No." "You're still the mayor." "I'm also a father who has made this harder than it needed to be." The indicator stalled on 7. Elias pressed the button once and waited. Lauren studied the silver watch Renee had given him. "You could let someone make the connection," she said, "and have Naomi watch me arrive with 2 officers? No." The doors opened to a cold marble lobby. Outside, tires hissed over rain. Elias buttoned his navy jacket and took the bag. Lauren handed him a slim envelope. "Your speech." "I'm not giving one." "She asked you to say a few words at dinner." "She asked me to be there." At the curb, his sedan idled. Lauren caught the door before he closed it. "Text when you land, and charge your phone." He checked the battery. 63%. Plenty. "That is exactly what you said last time." During the drive, Elias ignored 2 city calls and answered Naomi's 3rd. "You're really coming?" she asked. "I'm in the car." "That is not the same as being on the plane." "No, ma'am." He heard lockers closing and voices echoing behind her. Naomi lowered her tone. "They put 1 guest card on each chair. I wrote Mom's name on the one beside yours." Elias looked through the rain-blurred window. "Save both." "I always do." A whistle sounded near her. "Formation in 2 minutes. First row, left side. Don't make me keep looking at the door." "I won't." The call ended. Elias held the dark screen for a moment, then slipped the photograph behind the speech envelope inside his folio. At 9:14, the sedan passed the airport sign. The rain had thinned, but a warning flashed above the terminal entrance. Weather delays possible. Elias checked the time, the boarding pass, and Naomi's last message. 1 chair, first row. For once, the promise still looked easy. At 10:47 a.m., Elias caught a blue folder before it slid beneath a row of metal seats. "Thank you," the older woman said, lowering herself onto the armrest. Loose pages had fanned across the carpet around her brown shoes. Elias gathered them. The terminal smelled of burnt coffee and rain. Boarding announcements overlapped above the squeak of a cleaning cart. "Retired teachers never stop carrying homework," she said. "Lena Ortiz." "Elias." She noticed his worn leather folio. "Yours looks heavier." "City paperwork." His phone vibrated. Naomi had sent a photograph of 2 white cards taped to front-row chairs. Mom rested beside Dad. Beneath it, 48 minutes until lineup. Elias typed, "At the gate now." At the counter, the scanner flashed green, then amber. The agent frowned. "Mr. Grant, your reservation is confirmed, but the aircraft changed. Is my flight delayed?" "No. The issue is your seat." A red line crossed the monitor. "Seat conflict. 2A." The agent, Evelyn Park, was 29, with a narrow gold beret and a habit of tapping the scanner with her thumb. "Your pass was issued before the equipment swap. The new cabin map copied an upgrade request into an occupied seat. Should I wait?" "We board in 6 minutes. Go when your group is called. I'll correct it before the doors close." She reached for her phone to photograph the warning. The screen blinked. The red line vanished into a blank gray field. Evelyn froze. "I didn't touch anything." "What does that mean?" "The conflict is still there, but now I can't show what triggered it." A man behind Elias sighed. He was broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, and dressed in a pale gray travel suit. "I was promised 2A." Evelyn raised a hand. "Sir, I'm assisting another passenger." "Wyatt Crane, your supervisor cleared my upgrade last night." Elias checked his paper pass. "Mine says 2A." Wyatt glanced at the navy suit, open collar, and scuffed folio. Then somebody printed the wrong one. Lena stopped arranging her papers. "Both documents may be valid," Evelyn said. "That's why I'm checking." Wyatt held out his phone. "I paid to be first on and first off. I have a client meeting." "So does everyone else," Lena said. "This doesn't concern you." The boarding chime sounded. Cold air rolled from the jet bridge, carrying the metallic smell of wet pavement. "Group 1," the speaker announced. Evelyn printed a narrow receipt and wrote her initials across it. "Mr. Grant, board with this. I'll call the cabin when the map reloads." "And him?" "He has a pending upgrade, not an assigned seat." Wyatt gave a short laugh. "We'll see what the crew says." Inside the jet bridge, footsteps drummed against the hollow floor. Elias let Lena walk ahead and steadied her folder when the passage tilted. "You should have made her fix it first," Lena said. "She said she would." People say many things when a line is watching. At the aircraft door, Claire Hensley scanned Elias's pass. Her device chirped twice. Warm cabin air pressed against his rain-cooled face. She looked toward 2A, then back at him. "There's a problem with this seat." Behind Elias, Wyatt Crane smiled and lifted his phone. Claire held the scanner closer to Elias's boarding pass. It chirped again, sharp enough to turn heads in first class. "Step aside, sir." The gate agent said the seat was confirmed. "She said there was a problem," Wyatt cut in. "That seat is mine." Elias moved toward the galley so Lena could pass. The cabin smelled of coffee and damp wool. Above them, an air vent rattled. Claire glanced at the line filling the jet bridge. "Your pass isn't clearing." "It cleared at the gate." "That doesn't matter here." "It matters enough to call Evelyn." Wyatt lifted his phone. "Can we not make this a production?" Claire's mouth tightened. "Take 2A for now, Mr. Crane." Elias kept his paper pass extended between two fingers. "That is my assigned seat." A senior flight attendant emerged from the forward galley, fastening one cuff. Martin Voss was 52, silver at the temples, with a precise habit of smoothing his vest before speaking. "What's delaying boarding?" "Duplicate seat," Claire said. "His pass won't validate." Martin checked the wall clock. "How late are we?" 11 minutes. He looked at Elias, then at the passengers behind him. "Sir, we can place you in 28C until the gate resolves it." "No, we can resolve it now." Martin's eyes flicked to the folio under Elias's arm. "You'll still be on the same flight. I paid for 2A, and I have confirmation." Wyatt stepped around him and lowered himself into the window seat. Leather creaked beneath his coat. "There," Wyatt said. "Problem solved." Lena stopped beside row 4. "That is not solving it." "Ma'am, take your seat," Claire said. Lena's fingers tightened around her blue folder. She looked at Elias, then moved down the aisle as passengers pressed behind her. Martin took the boarding pass. For 1 second, the white card hung between them. Elias waited while he read the name, flight number, and seat. "Call the gate," Elias said. Martin returned the pass. "Claire, close the overhead bins. I'll handle this." The cabin door remained open, letting in a draft that cooled the rain on Elias's shoulders. A suitcase wheel struck an armrest, and the boarding music looped back to its first bright note. Martin lowered his voice. "If we stop boarding for every seating dispute, no one leaves. This is one record that can be checked." "Operations wants us ready in 4 minutes," Claire said. Elias's phone vibrated inside his coat. "Naomi, we line up in 30 minutes. You boarded?" He did not reach for it. Martin followed his gaze to the clock. "Take 28C or step off and rebook. That is not a choice based on the ticket I hold." "Sir, people are waiting," Claire said. Elias turned. A dozen passengers were watching. Some looked annoyed. Others looked away when he met their eyes. Noah Price, seated in 3A, held his phone low against his chest, its camera lens uncovered. Elias placed the pass on the narrow galley counter. "Call Evelyn Park." She wrote her initials on the correction slip. Claire picked up the slip, barely glanced at it, and set it beneath the service manifest. Martin checked the clock again. "Move him to the back," he said. The sentence was quiet, almost casual. Then Claire reached for Elias's leather folio. Claire's fingers closed around the folio's brass clasp. "Please don't," Elias said. "I need to see what you're carrying." "It contains personal papers." "You're holding up the cabin." She pulled. The worn leather slipped against his damp sleeve, struck the armrest, and sprang open. The speech envelope slid beneath 2A. The photograph followed, turning once before stopping near Wyatt Crane's polished shoe. Elias bent. Claire stepped back. "Don't reach for me." "I'm reaching for the photograph." "Stand up." The ventilation hissed. Bitter coffee hung in the air. He reached toward the picture. Claire's hand moved first. The sound was flat and sudden. Elias's silver watch struck the armrest as he steadied himself. No one spoke. The boarding music continued. Wyatt stared at the window. Claire's breath came fast. "You do not get to ignore me." Elias straightened. A red mark rose along his cheek, but his voice stayed level. "Move your foot, sir." Wyatt looked down. The photograph's corner showed beneath his shoe. "I didn't see it." "Move your foot." Wyatt shifted. Elias lifted the picture by its bent edge. Naomi stood between him and Renee. A gray line crossed Renee's face where the sole had pressed. Lena Ortiz had stopped beside row 4, one hand over her mouth. "You saw that," she said to Martin. "Ma'am, sit down." She struck him. "Sit down, or you may be removed." Lena's phone glowed red for recording, then went dark beneath her thumb. Noah Price rose halfway from 3A. "He never touched her." Claire turned. "Stay seated." "I watched the whole thing." "You saw him lunge." "No," Elias said. "He saw me reach for this." He held the photograph against his chest. Claire looked at it, then away. Martin stepped between them. "Sir, you are no longer traveling with us." "On what basis?" "Failure to follow crew instructions." "I asked you to verify a seat." "You were told to move." "And she was asked not to take my property." Claire folded her arms. Wyatt cleared his throat. "Can we finish boarding?" Noah faced him. "That picture was under your shoe." "I didn't see it." "You didn't look." Martin pointed toward the open door. "Mr. Grant, leave voluntarily, or airport police will escort you." Elias placed the photograph inside his jacket, away from the broken folio. Then he retrieved his boarding pass and flattened its curled edge with his thumb. "Call Evelyn Park. The decision has been made. Then record that I requested the gate agent, that my pass reads 2A, and that I threatened no one." Martin glanced at Claire. "I'll write the report. Write the first version before you discuss it together." Martin's eyes narrowed. Claire lifted the cabin phone. "We have a disruptive passenger in first class." Noah held his phone against his chest, camera facing the aisle. Lena stared at her black screen. 2 airport officers appeared in the doorway. "Sir," the younger one said, "come with us." Elias picked up the damaged folio. Its clasp hung loose. "May I keep my boarding pass?" "For now." As he passed row 3, Noah whispered, "I saved it." Elias did not turn. Behind him, Claire began telling the officers that he had become aggressive. "He raised his voice and refused every instruction," Claire said as the officers entered. Elias stood by the open aircraft door, the broken clasp of his folio tapping against the leather. Cold air moved through the jet bridge and lifted his boarding pass. "I did not raise my voice." Martin faced the officers. He became confrontational when we asked him to change seats. Noah's phone remained against his chest. A red timer glowed beneath his thumb. "Did he threaten anyone?" the younger officer asked. Claire hesitated. "His movement was aggressive." "He bent down," Noah said. Martin turned. "Stop recording." "Why?" "Crew instruction." Noah lowered the phone an inch, but left it running. Lena Ortiz stood at row 4 with her blue folder pressed to her ribs. Her screen had gone black. Elias saw her thumb over the power button. The younger officer was Calvin Ross, 28, with rain darkening his shoulders. Sergeant Dana Wells waited on the jet bridge with a tablet. "Mr. Grant," Calvin said, "step outside." "I will. Please note that my pass assigns me to 2A and that I requested the gate agent. We can discuss it out there." "Will you note it now?" Calvin looked toward Dana. She nodded. "Passenger states he requested gate verification," Calvin dictated. Martin exhaled. "We have a full cabin waiting." A suitcase wheel squealed near row 12. No one complained now. Elias stepped onto the jet bridge. Behind him, Claire said, "Make sure he doesn't come back for the bag." "It is my property," Elias said. Calvin retrieved the folio. The broken brass clasp scratched Elias's palm. Inside, Martin addressed the passengers. "For privacy and safety, all recordings must stop." Noah looked at his phone. "Request or order?" "Order." Lena pressed the power button. Her screen lit again. "I'm 67, she said, voice uneven. "I know what I saw." "Ma'am, sit down." "Will I be removed too?" Martin did not answer. A woman in 3C lowered her plastic cup. Noah angled his camera toward the doorway. Claire leaned close to Martin. "They're making this worse." "No," Lena said. "We are making a record." Donna heard her. "Witnesses may provide statements after we secure the scene." "Secure what scene?" Noah asked. "He walked out." Calvin glanced at Elias, then at the empty space between them. Dana's tablet chimed. "We have an allegation of refusal to comply." "Ask whether the gate agent was called," Elias said. Martin answered first. "There was no time." The clock above the door clicked to 11:03. Lena raised her phone. Her hand shook enough to blur the image, but she kept it pointed at Martin. "I stopped once," she said. "I won't stop twice." Claire looked at the lifted screens. Color drained from her face. Dana motioned Elias farther down the jet bridge. "We need to separate you from the cabin." He followed, each footstep hollow against the metal floor. The aircraft door began to swing inward. Noah called after him. "I saved the audio." Through the narrowing gap, Elias saw Martin pull Evelyn Park's initialed correction slip from beneath the service manifest. Instead of handing it to the officers, he folded it once and slipped it into his vest pocket. The aircraft door closed with a hydraulic thud. Elias stopped halfway down the jet bridge. The sound cut off the cabin voices, leaving only fluorescent hum and rain ticking against the windows. "Keep moving, sir," Calvin said. "My photograph is with me. My boarding pass is with me. My correction slip is not." Dana Wells looked up from her tablet. "What correction slip?" "Initialed by Evelyn Park. It was on the galley counter." Calvin glanced at the sealed door. "We can request it later." "Request it now." Dana studied him, then keyed her radio. "Gate desk, confirm whether Evelyn Park issued a written seat correction for Elias Grant." Static answered first. They reached a holding room. The walls were beige, the air too cold, and a camera blinked above a bolted table. Calvin pointed to the chair. "You're not under arrest." "Then don't write this as a detention." "It's temporary." "Use that word." Dana entered it. The radio crackled. "Gate desk confirms a handwritten correction receipt was issued. Agent is searching for the copy." Elias sat. The chair's metal edge pressed through his wet trousers. He folded the boarding pass along its existing crease. "Call Chief Hale," he said. Calvin's expression tightened. "You know the chief?" "Yes." "Everyone knows someone when they dislike the process. I'm not asking you to skip it." Dana looked at him. "Then why Hale?" "He helped write the passenger removal protocol. He knows which records must be frozen before they are overwritten." Calvin leaned against the wall. "That sounds like pressure." "It is a preservation request." Elias's phone vibrated. Naomi's name filled the screen. He reached for it, but Dana raised a hand. "Not until we finish identification." "It may be urgent." "We're almost done." The call stopped. A second began immediately. Elias placed both hands flat on the table. "My daughter is being sworn into the fire service in less than half an hour." Calvin looked at the blank wall instead of him. Dana asked, "Full legal name?" "Elias Nathaniel Grant." "Occupation?" He paused as the vent rattled overhead. "Municipal service." "Be specific," Calvin said. "Mayor of Ashford." Neither officer moved. Then Calvin laughed once. "False information will make this worse." Elias removed no card, seal, or title from his jacket. "Call Hale." Donna searched the state directory. Her face changed. "Calvin." He stepped closer. The screen showed Elias's official photograph beside a municipal profile. "Why didn't you say that on the plane?" Calvin asked. "I gave my name." "You could have shown credentials." A valid ticket should have been enough. Donna's radio chirped. Gate desk update. Agent Park says the original correction slip is missing from the service counter. Elias looked at the camera above the table. Preserve the cabin video now. Dana reached for her radio. Hurried footsteps crossed the corridor. The door opened, and Martin Voss stood there, breathing hard, one hand inside his vest pocket. I brought the crew statement. A folded strip of white paper showed between his fingers. Dana's gaze dropped to it. So did you bring the missing correction slip? Dana held out her hand. Both documents. Martin tightened his grip on the folded strip. This is the crew statement. And the paper beneath it? He placed both on the table. Evelyn Park's initials marked the slip. Calvin read it. Seat 2A confirmed pending system refresh. We were delayed, Martin said. That does not erase this, Dana replied. Elias's phone buzzed. Naomi. Then a notification appeared. Fire Academy ceremony. Live now. May I answer? Donna checked the clock. 2 minutes. He opened the stream. A brass ensemble finished beneath bright gymnasium lights. Recruits stood in dark uniforms, while families took folding chairs. The camera passed the first row. 2 white cards waited there. Mom and Dad. The dad chair was empty. Elias lowered the brightness. 1% glowed in the corner. Martin watched. I didn't know. You didn't ask. Dana offered a charging cable. It did not fit. The commander reached the podium. Applause crackled through the speaker. Elias called Naomi. Dad? She answered, breathless. Where are you? At the airport. You landed? No. A door slammed. Someone called recruits into formation. What happened? I'm safe. That isn't an answer. I'll explain after your oath. You promised first row. I know. They're taking our phones. Are you watching? Yes. Then don't let it die. The line ended. The display showed 2%, then fell to 1. Elias placed the phone flat on the cold table. Donna faced Martin. Who wrote refused repeated instructions? I did. Before or after you found the correction slip? Martin looked down. After. Calvin stopped typing. And attempted physical contact. Claire reported that. Did you see it? I saw him bend toward her. You saw me reach for my photograph, Elias said. Martin glanced at the broken clasp. I was responsible for departure. You were responsible for people first. Names began. Each one brought cheers through the tiny speaker. Elias leaned closer. The metal edge pressed his wrists. Naomi's name was 6 lines down in the program. The stream froze. No. A spinning circle covered the podium. Donna opened the door. Take him to a charging station. Identification isn't cleared, Calvin said. It is now. An operations supervisor entered with a form. Mr. Grant must sign acknowledgement of removal before release. Elias watched the screen. I won't sign anything inaccurate. You can dispute it later. The ceremony is now. The supervisor laid the form over the phone. Elias lifted it and placed it beside Dana's tablet. Move it. The video returned. The commander was nearing the G names. Dana pointed into the corridor. We're going. The phone chimed. Naomi's 4th missed call flashed over the video. Then the commander said, Grant. Naomi stepped forward. Before taking her certificate, she looked toward the empty chair. The screen went black. His thumbprint remained visible on the glass. No one spoke. Martin lowered his eyes. Calvin's fingers hovered above the keyboard. The supervisor took back the unsigned form. Elias set the dead phone beside it. His voice was steady. Preserve every record before someone decides this was only a scheduling problem. I saved it. Noah said into the oversight hotline, keeping his voice low. The cabin audio, the strike, the seat dispute, all of it. Across the aisle, Martin stood near the closed door while Claire sat rigidly on the jump seat. The engines had not started. Rain tapped the oval windows, and the recycled air smelled faintly of coffee grounds and damp coats. The dispatcher asked, "Are you still on board?" "Yes. Flight 417. Gate C19. Do not edit the file. Send the original." Noah watched the upload bar crawl across his screen. "Done." At row 4, Lena rose with her blue folder clutched under one arm. "Sit down, ma'am," Martin said. "I need a statement form." "We'll handle complaints after arrival." "No. I watched you remove him before checking his ticket. I'm not letting this plane leave before someone writes down what I saw." Claire rubbed her wrist. "You're delaying everyone." Lena turned toward the first-class cabin. "So was he. None of you cared then." Several passengers lowered their eyes. The woman in 3C placed her untouched cup on the tray. Its plastic rim clicked twice. Martin reached for the interphone. "Gate, we need assistance with a disruptive witness." Noah stood. "Use the right word." Martin stared at him. "Witness," Noah repeated. At the gate counter, Evelyn Park was pulling open drawers when the call came through. "I issued the correction slip," she told the operations supervisor, "and the seat was his. The crew says the system rejected him. The cabin scanner rejected the old aircraft map, not the passenger." She hurried down the jet bridge with a portable printer and found the boarding pass wedged beneath 2A. One edge was bent, but the name and seat remained clear. Wyatt Crane shifted in the window seat. "That proves nothing about the upgrade." Evelyn held up his phone record. "Your request was pending. You were never assigned 2A." Wyatt looked away. Lena stepped into the aisle. "Will you take my statement now?" Evelyn tore a blank incident form from the printer. "Yes." The small machine began feeding out a fresh passenger manifest, line by line, its rollers whining in the quiet cabin. Evelyn scanned the names until she reached row 2. Her thumb stopped. "What is it?" Noah asked. The crew display shortened the account name. To what? E. Grant. And the full record? Evelyn read the expanded field twice before answering. The Honorable Elias Grant, Office of the Mayor, Ashford. Claire stood so quickly, the jump seat snapped upward behind her. Martin's face tightened. "That cannot leave this cabin." Noah lifted his phone. "It already has." In the holding room, Dana's radio came alive. "Sergeant Wells, gate agent confirms passenger Grant was assigned 2A. Witness statements are being collected. Independent oversight has received video." Calvin looked at Elias. "Someone sent it?" "Someone finally decided the record mattered," Elias said. Dana reached for the phone on the wall. "I'm calling Hale directly." The line rang once, twice. Outside the holding room, footsteps struck the corridor at a fast, measured pace. Then a voice beyond the door said, "Where is Elias Grant, and why was I not called?" The door opened before Dana could answer. Thomas Hale filled the frame, rain shining on his dark overcoat. At 58, the police chief rarely hurried, but Calvin stepped back as if the room had narrowed. Hale looked at Elias, the dead phone, the broken folio, and the unsigned removal form. "Mr. Mayor?" Calvin's mouth opened. Donna lowered her tablet. Elias stood. "Chief." The title carried into the corridor. A supervisor stopped. Martin went pale. Hale shut the door. "Why are you in a holding room?" "Because a valid seat assignment became a removal." "I asked for facts." "So did I." Donna handed him the correction slip and crew statement. Hale's eyes stopped at attempted physical contact. Who verified this? No one before removal, Dana said. JetBridge video? Not reviewed. Cabin audio? We were told there wasn't time. There is always time before a claim becomes somebody's record. Martin stepped forward. We were protecting the departure. Hale raised Evelyn's slip. By withholding this, I brought it here. After he was removed, Elias lifted the folio. Its broken clasp scraped the table. Hale noticed the empty photo sleeve. Where is the photograph? Under 2A, unless someone moved it. Hale opened the door. No aircraft movement. No cleaning crew. Nobody touches that cabin until evidence control arrives. The supervisor protested. We already have a 26-minute delay. Then record 27. They returned through the corridor. Cold air rolled from the jet bridge. Passengers watched as Hale entered beside Elias. Claire rose from the jump seat. I didn't know who he was. Elias stopped beside 2A. That is not the question. Wyatt moved into the aisle. The photograph lay face down near his shoe. Elias bent, lifted it by one corner, and brushed gray carpet thread from Renee's smile. Noah lowered his phone. Lena held her written statement against her chest. Hale faced the cabin. Preserve every recording. Any witness may give a statement without penalty. Martin said, We can handle this internally. No. Donna arrived with evidence bags. Calvin followed with a charging pack and set it beside Elias without meeting his eyes. For your phone. Elias connected the cable. The screen stayed black. Hale gestured toward the door. My office is private. We can release you now. Not privately. Elias, your daughter. Correct the report first. A white charging symbol appeared. I won't leave under a favor, Elias said. Strike the false language. Preserve the first statement, every revision, the gate scan, cabin audio, and door camera. Interview these passengers before they hear a company explanation. Hale looked at Dana. Do it. Claire gripped her service bag. What happens to us? Procedure should answer that, Elias said. Not my title. His phone restarted. Naomi's name filled the screen beside 5 missed calls. He did not answer yet. Dana opened the active report. The word aggressive glowed in a gray field. She deleted it and typed, Disputed conduct pending review. Only then did Elias reach for the phone. Before he could press call, Hale looked at Martin's vest pocket. What else are you carrying that should already be in evidence? Martin's hand stayed against his vest pocket. Hale waited. The cabin lights hummed. Martin finally drew out a folded sheet and laid it on the armrest. It's the first draft, he said. Donna unfolded it. 2 lines had been crossed out in blue ink. Read the original wording, Hale said. Martin's jaw tightened. Passenger remained calm but disputed reassignment. Claire stared at him. That's not what you told me you wrote. It was before operations called. Who called? Elias asked. Martin said nothing. Dana photographed the page and opened the revised report. The later version says, became aggressive and attempted contact. Noah lifted his phone. My recording shows the change happened after he was gone. 20 minutes later, independent investigator Marisol Vega arrived. She was 45, compact, wore silver hoops, and moved with clipped precision. No crew member speaks with another until separate interviews are complete, she said. No recording is deleted. No report is overwritten. Claire's face drained. Am I being detained? No, I'm preventing memories from becoming coordinated. Marisol took Elias to a conference room overlooking the rain-slick runway. Start when your pass was scanned. Elias gave times, positions, names, and exact requests. He did not mention the strike until Marisol asked why the photograph was damaged. She hit me while I reached for it. Did you touch her? No. Threaten anyone? No. Identify yourself as mayor? I gave my name. Why not show credentials? A valid boarding pass should not require a title. In the adjoining room, Noah transferred the original video while a technician verified its metadata. Lena dictated her statement twice because her first signature wandered off the line. I lowered my phone, she said. That is the part I'm ashamed of. Then include it, Marisol replied. Accurate statements are not polished statements. At the gate desk, Evelyn surrendered the scanner logs. They showed 2A assigned to Elias at 9:41 a.m., Wyatt's upgrade still pending at 10:52, and a manual override opened from the cabin terminal 3 minutes before removal. Who had access? Marisol asked. Senior crew. Martin's interview lasted 11 minutes before he requested counsel. Claire's lasted 7. At 1:18 p.m., Marisol placed 2 reports side by side before Hale and Elias. In the first, Martin had written calm. In the second, the word had vanished beneath aggressive. The edit came from his login, she said. The cabin call log shows an operations manager advised him to classify this as a safety removal to avoid compensation review. Hale's expression hardened. Name? Celeste Rowan's regional office. The call is preserved. Lauren Bishop called. Elias answered on the second ring. Naomi saw the video, Lauren said. The press office wants a statement. No political statement. She asked whether you were all right. Elias looked at Renee's photograph inside the clear evidence sleeve. Tell her I'm coming. When? He watched Marisol seal the original report. When the truth can't be edited again. Marisol opened another folder. Prior complaints was stamped across the tab. Inside were 6 names. 6 complaints, Marisol said, spreading the files across the table. 6 folders formed a neat stack beside the incentive chart. Hale opened the first. Closed after internal review. No witness interviews, Marisol said. The next 2 carried the same phrase. Elias stood at the window. Rain blurred the runway lights. His collar still smelled of wet wool and cabin coffee. Were the passengers contacted? Only by automated email. Marisol tapped the 6th file. 3 involve seat disputes. 2 involve removals. 1 says the passenger's statement was changed. A knock sounded. Celeste Rowan entered with counsel. She was 49, wore a charcoal coat, and twisted a silver ring when questions came too close. I came voluntarily. You came after we preserved the call, Marisol replied. Celeste sat. The chair legs scraped the tile. Marisol placed the incentive chart between them. Explain door-close compliance. It measures reliability. It pays bonuses to teams that meet targets. Even when a dispute is unresolved, Celeste's fingers stopped. Safety decisions belong to the crew. Hale slid Martin's first report toward her. This says the passenger remained calm. Celeste looked at Elias. I did not know his identity. You knew there was a disputed seat. Our office was told he would not comply. Before or after you advised them to classify it as a safety removal? Her counsel leaned closer. Do not answer. Marisol pressed play. Celeste's recorded voice filled the room. If the door misses the next slot, code it as safety-related. We cannot absorb another service delay. The air conditioning clicked off. Paper rustled under Hale's thumb. That was not an instruction to falsify anything, Celeste said. What did you expect them to do with the word safety? Elias asked. She looked at the 6 folders. Protect the schedule. Martin was brought in separately. He wore a plain sweater instead of his vest. Did you know about these complaints? Marisol asked. Not all 6. How many? 2. And the bonus policy? Yes. Did it affect your decision? Martin looked through the glass toward the empty gate. We had already missed 1 target that month. That is not what she asked, Hale said. Martin rubbed the mark left by his collar. Yes. On a monitor, Claire sat alone, hands locked together. They told us hesitation creates risk, she said. Who told you? Claire named a training module approved by Celeste's office. Celeste closed her eyes. Elias lifted the first complaint. At the bottom, a handwritten line had been scanned. I kept asking them to check my ticket, but everyone acted as if asking was the offense. He placed it beside his damaged photograph. I want every closed complaint reopened. Celeste's counsel shook his head. That would expose the company to the truth, Hale said. Martin stared at the folders. We called it efficiency. No one answered. He reached toward his first report, then stopped. I knew the seat should have been checked. I knew it before he left the cabin. Marisol turned on a fresh recorder. Say that again. Outside, the rain thinned. Inside, 6 red status stamps waited to be replaced before the public hearing began. Say that again, Marisol said. Martin faced the recorder. I knew the seat should have been checked before he was removed. The public hearing began 2 days later in Ashford's municipal chamber. The room smelled of polished wood and hot camera cables. Elias placed Renee's damaged photograph beside his hands. Claire sat opposite him, her crew badge hidden in her palm. Marisol opened with the scanner log, the first report, and Noah's video. Ms. Hensley, the review chair said, what did you believe when Mr. Grant bent down? That he was ignoring me. That was not the question. Claire swallowed. I decided he was dangerous before I checked what he was reaching for. The chair pointed to the frozen image of Elias's hand above the photograph. Did he touch you? No. Threaten you? No. Raise his voice? Claire looked toward Elias, then down. No. A camera shutter clicked. She flinched. Martin was called next. He confirmed the seat conflict, Evelyn's slip, and Celeste Rowan's call. You changed remained calm to became aggressive, Marisol said. Yes. Was the new wording true? Martin rubbed both palms over his knees. No. Lena Ortiz followed, her blue folder shaking. I lowered my phone when they threatened me, she said. Put that in the record. I feared missing a flight while he was losing something much bigger. Noah stared at the floor. Elias kept his eyes on the photograph. Chief Hale stood. The first police report is withdrawn. My department accepted the crew's account before verifying it. He turned to Elias. I apologize. Elias nodded once. Correct every copy. It has been ordered. And notify every agency that received it. We will. The chair announced Claire's termination for misconduct and false reporting. Martin would lose his supervisory role pending discipline. Celeste Rowan was placed on leave while 6 complaints were reopened. Claire set the badge on the table. The metal made a small, bright sound. Her eyes reached Renee's photograph, then stopped at its bent corner. I am sorry, she said. Elias waited until she looked up. You should be. But an apology cannot be the only thing protecting the next passenger. Celeste's counsel shifted. The company is prepared to discuss compensation privately. No. What are you requesting? The chair asked. Independent seat verification before removal. Preservation of original reports. Witness access that does not depend on crew permission. and an end to incentives that reward closed doors over checked facts. That exceeds this hearing, Celeste said. Elias slid the photograph into its sleeve. Then expand the hearing. Afterward, Claire stood beside the witness chair. Martin passed without speaking. Lena touched Elias's sleeve and handed him her statement. I wish I had stood sooner. You stood. Outside, Elias ignored the cameras and called Naomi. Are you coming home? She asked. Yes. Did they apologize? They did. Was it enough? Through the glass doors, 6 reopened files were carried into the chamber. No, Elias said, but now we know where to begin. Behind him, Marisol unfolded a draft titled Passenger Dignity Protocol and placed it on the oak table. At 7:40 the morning, Elias stood beneath the airport authority seal while Marisol placed the draft protocol between them. Independent verification before removal, she said. Original reports locked on creation. Witness statements accepted without crew approval. Hale turned a page. Police may not rely on a crew summary when video or gate records are available. Acting Director Owen Mercer adjusted his glasses. Some of this will slow departures. Elias left his pen above the signature line. How long did it take to remove me? 4 minutes, Mercer said. How long would a gate check have taken? Evelyn Park answered from the front row. Less than 90 seconds. The projector fan hummed. Lena sat beside Noah, her blue folder on her knees. Elias had insisted they be listed as witnesses. Mercer cleared his throat. We can accept the verification rule. But a passenger hotline may be abused. So can authority, Marisol said. The policy required removal orders to record the instruction, evidence, and verifier. Deleted wording would remain visible. Closed complaints would receive independent review. Bonuses tied to door-closed targets would exclude unresolved disputes. Hale slid over another document. My department is adding a 2-source rule. Crew reports plus observation, video, gate data, or a witness. Calvin Ross stood near the wall. Chief, may I add something? Hale nodded. Calvin faced Elias. Officers will be trained not to treat a request for a supervisor as resistance. Elias met his eyes. Put that in writing. Calvin did. At noon, the signing moved to the concourse. Travelers slowed behind the rope line as cameras clicked. Elias found Naomi in the second row, still wearing her academy jacket. The sight of her stopped his hand above the page. She pointed to the empty chair beside her. Renee's photograph rested there in a new, clear sleeve. Elias signed and passed the pen to Hale. A reporter called, Mayor Grant, is this justice? Elias closed the folder. It is a procedure. Justice is whether it works when no one recognizes the passenger. Noah lowered his phone. Lena turned her cup handle away from her sleeve. Small movements. Ordinary people. The kind a system forgot. Before the ceremony ended, a seat conflict appeared at Gate C11. A young employee named Jason Lee called both passengers forward, checked the scanner log, and asked a supervisor to witness the correction. No raised voice. No removal. 92 seconds later, one passenger boarded and the other received a new assignment. Evelyn watched from across the concourse. It worked, she said. Once, Marisol replied. Now we make it repeat. That evening, Elias and Naomi stood outside the terminal where the rain had stopped. She handed him the repaired folio. The brass clasp was new, but the leather still carried its scratches. You missed the oath, she said. I know. I kept looking at the door. He had no answer that could change that. Naomi touched the silver watch on his wrist. Then come early next time. I will. She didn't smile, but linked her arm through his as they walked toward the garage. Behind them, The new hotline light blinked green for the first time. Its first message was already waiting. 4 months later, Elias arrived 40 minutes early. The fire station's community room smelled of fresh paint, coffee, and rain drying on wool coats. Folding chairs faced a small platform for the assignment ceremony. Elias chose the first seat on the left. He placed Renee's photograph on the empty chair beside him, then set Naomi's new service badge across the sleeve. Naomi entered through the side door and stopped. "You're early." "I was advised not to test the schedule." Her mouth almost curved. She touched the bent corner of the photograph. "It still hurts that you missed the oath." "I know." "But you didn't let them erase why." A station bell sounded beyond the wall. Naomi sat beside him until her captain called the recruits forward. Before standing, she pressed the badge into his palm. "Hold this until they call me." This time, when her name came, Elias was already looking at her. 2 weeks later, the Independent Review published its first report. All 6 closed complaints had been reopened. 3 passengers received corrected records. 2 removals were voided. Claire Hensley's termination was upheld, and she entered a de-escalation program required for future cabin work. Martin Voss accepted a non-supervisory training role after admitting schedule pressure had shaped his report. Celeste Rowan resigned during an audit that found regional bonuses rewarded fast door closures while complaints disappeared. Marisol Vega placed the report on Elias's desk. 27 policy changes. 12 airports adopted the verification rule. And the hotline? 416 reports. 39 required review. Keep it open. Lena Ortiz joined the passenger advisory panel with the same blue folder. Noah Price helped create a secure witness upload system. Evelyn Park became a gate operations trainer. Calvin Ross began each verification class with the sentence he once resisted: "Asking for a supervisor is not refusal." One cold January evening, Elias boarded Flight 417 again. His Navy suit was the same. The silver watch remained on his wrist. The repaired folio had a new clasp, though the leather still showed every scratch. At the door, a young gate employee named Jason Lee scanned his pass. The device flashed amber. "Seat conflict," Jason said. A traveler behind Elias sighed. Jason did not look at the clock. "Give me 90 seconds, sir." He called the desk, checked the aircraft map, and asked a supervisor to witness the correction. No one touched Elias's folio. No one raised a voice. 84 seconds later, Jason returned the pass. "2A is yours. Thank you for waiting." Jason did not recognize him. Elias glanced toward the rain-dark runway. That's how it should be. He sat by the window and opened the folio. Renee's photograph rested inside, no longer evidence, no longer hidden beneath a shoe. On the back, Naomi had written the date of her assignment, and one line: "First row. You made it." Across the aisle, a passenger struggled with a loose seat label. A flight attendant checked both tickets and solved the problem before the door closed. The aircraft began to move. Elias set the photograph on the tray table, where the cabin light warmed the old crease across Renee's smile. Outside, the runway lamps passed one by one. Inside, the first chair was no longer empty. If this story reminded you of a moment when someone's dignity depended on whether a witness chose to speak, share that experience in the comments. Tell us what happened, what you wish had been done sooner, or what finally changed. Pass this story to someone who believes fairness should not require a title, influence, or recognition. Sometimes one shared story gives another person the courage to document what they saw, ask one more question, or refuse an easy explanation. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, and the difficult work of changing systems after the cameras leave. Your voice helps keep these stories moving beyond a single apology and toward rules that protect everyone.